really, really beautiful waterfall. And sometimes they will go one at a time, or maybe two, and just sort of sit in front of the waterfall for a long time, staring at it. And who knows what that is? Maybe they're worshiping the waterfall. Nobody knows. Or maybe they're enjoying it aesthetically or something. We don't know. But why humans have deities, there are several theories. Could it have been an adaptation? So it was, populations who had deities had more of a sort of common goal, and they had more social cohesion, so they could beat out the atheist tribes, and so religion flourished. Other people, and I think that's more likely, is that having deities, having superstitions and religions is more a question of a side effect of evolution. Our brains got so big, and they got so tuned in to social life and reading other people's minds, thinking about their intentions, that it's just very, very easy to believe in ideas of deities who have intentions and are watching us and are thinking about us and care about us. So I think it's that side effect thing.
Why do birds sing?
Well, for many reasons, for signaling, for mating, for any kind of communication. Well, sometimes it might be the supreme self,
For territory, claiming territory.
Yeah, that's another form of communication, saying, I live here, they are. But, I mean, you do see certain species of birds sort of really sitting there, just having this elaborate singing and developing their singing. And you never know, it could be that they just enjoy it as well.
In that show, Blackfish, they showed, and you mentioned that they took the cat away because in another society. The mother cat went into a terrible fit of grieving for a long time. So they appear to have
something that certainly looks and sounds like this.
Right. I have another question, but I'll
Oh. All right, it was sort of like two dumb questions. One, have you heard they're doing studies on infants that through puppet shows showing that they could actually show that infants seem to have this innate morality, a moral sense, that it's not something they have learned, but it's actually ingrained.
Yeah, but it's been known for quite a while that humans have morality, some kind of very basic morality. Some call it a moral ground.
And why wouldn't this be in the animals too?
Exactly.
I mean, and I have chickens, and I've seen my rooster. I had a rooster who literally sacrificed himself to save the chickens by distracting a stray dog and going in the opposite direction that the other chickens went.
Yeah.
And it was not even like he was running from. I mean, he went into the dog's face. I mean, right there again, just sacrificing yourself for the better good of your group.
A lot of scientists would probably say, well, that's anecdotal. It's something you just saw. Maybe it's not. But there are a lot of anecdotes out there, and then when you start to work from those anecdotes and can design experiments that could show that was going on, and with the rats, for example, they are actually they're doing something for a strange rat that they've never seen, and they're not related to them, and so on and so forth. So why not chickens? Because in an evolutionary sense, it would be understandable. I mean, his genes are all
I hope that's not true, because then all my craziness is getting passed on to him.
Oh, but that's, I mean, that happens all the time.
Yeah, it does.
You can count on that.
I guess do animals have like, I guess you'd say, descriptive knowledge? I think I'm describing that correctly. Like we know the difference between a table and a chair, and know like the different types of table, different types of chairs. And I guess in like the animal world, animal kingdom, they know like the difference between a tree and a rock and stuff like. Do they have that ability as well?
Sure. I mean,
Can you
how,
repeat the question? Yeah.
do animals have sort of descriptive knowledge? Do they know the difference between different things and categories of things? Yeah, I mean, like they will often know what to eat and not to eat. And sometimes it depends on learning. And a lot of the time we will just say, well, that's instinct. For some reason, they're born knowing that they can actually eat this. But often it depends on learning. And something like as basic as mating, for example, it's been seen that certain kinds of monkeys and apes, they actually have to watch mating. They have to learn it. It's not something they just go and do. And you can have monkeys that have never seen mating and haven't learned it, and they're presented with somebody to mate with, and they just, what's this? I don't know. So a lot of things have to be learned. And about the knowing the difference between things. For example, you can have lemurs test them. Do they know, different shapes from each other and different ways of, behavior of some things on the screen? And they seem to be able to distinguish between things. So yeah, definitely at different levels and different.
Because I was thinking about, I guess, animals versus in the wild and captivity. And like you said, they would present them with like food or a mate or something. They're like, what the heck is this?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is all about.
Definitely, if an animal that does a lot or depends on a lot of learning, if it grows up in a strange environment, it won't, there's a lot of things it won't know in its original environment.
Do you have examples of transmitting parenting skills from generation to generation in the non-human?
Well, there are different, it seems, you've seen that a lot in apes, and apes have been studied much on this, and that seems to be the case that you learn from your mother that, this is how you take care of young, and babies of, bad monkey mothers will be bad understanders themselves, but it also happens in rats, for example, and there it seems to, you can see epigenetic changes in rat pups who were not sort of licked and groomed as much as other rat pups, and they will do the same, or they will have the same bad mothering skills when it comes to having babies. So that probably happens in a lot of them. Yeah.
Of course, in those, the highly human beings, which is lower human being mothers, the lower human beings who are not good mothers, but they have more pups. They have sex more and have more pups.
You can also see, as far as I know, the studies they've done at McGill, it doesn't depend on how many pups they have, but you simply have some that aren't, they're wired differently. So, rats are probably on a bell curve like we are, with all kinds of abilities. And so some of the mothers are just not, that interested in the pups, and that will transmit via epigenetic effect to their pups. But you can remedy it by, taking the pups away from them, giving them to other mothers who are highly human. So it is something they learn in a way. It's not something that's, inherited in that way.
Speaking of bell curve, is there any evidence of homosexuality in the animal kingdom, or is that something
Pretty
that
much
you
in
In the
every
dolphins,
animal.
yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
They do it all the time.
So that's not
For example, sheep populations. There are so many homosexual lambs that it's a problem.
Not enough
so
sheep.
it's the average instead of the
Oh
extreme,
yeah,
but
it's not just a human thing. mean, and you can see there are a lot of examples of birds where the two sexes look very much alike, and everybody just assumes that, there are these pair bonds, and so these pairs of birds are taking care of their eggs and the young, and then they start testing their sex and find out that, there are so many lesbian couples. I mean, equalities of, I think it's albatross or something like that, where there's an enormous amount of lesbianism going on. So they have their eggs fertilized by somebody, and he's just sort of whisked away. So it goes on in pretty much every animal they've looked at some percentage. So it is a biological phenomenon.
So we also have that smell taken James Wood in the movie Red Mushrooms that are poisonous. We have to be told they're poisonous. The animals know not to eat them.
Yeah. Because if they had eaten them in the past, they would have died. And so it's some kind of, for some animals, I would think it's some kind of genetic knowledge. Maybe some kind of, yes, they smell something, and it's the signal of not eating it. And for some species, it's probably something that they have to learn. Their mothers or whatever communicate with them, don't eat that.
And again, just my own hypothesis. We've given up things, possibly through evolution, to have our great intelligence here. There's evidence that we were possibly able to see electromagnetic fields. This is what I've heard. Okay, I didn't do this.
That's when we were bees.
When we were, for some reason, there are cells in our eyes that are not active.
Yeah.
That can, so they're saying that it's possible, just like how birds use it in migration, they could see the electromagnetic field of the earth, somehow see it, sense it, and this is something we may have lost.
But we certainly have paid, some kind of price for,
right.
Being on two legs and having a big brain and so on and so forth. Like our backs are not really well put together. We have back pain all the time. We get arthritis. It's really hard for humans to give birth, and so on and so forth. So yeah, there's always a price for something in evolution.
A trade.
Yeah.
You started out talking about Darwin, and since this is a Darwin Day celebration, could you kind of refocus us out from particular animals and back on what it was that was unique about Darwin's legacy, that we're still trying to unpack, still trying to realize? How is it that Darwin is still so relevant to our culture?
Well, the question is, I guess, not why he's relevant, but why he flies in the face of so many people still. And I think that it's sort of for human nature, which is very much based on that social thinking and having ideas of the future and where we're supposed to and where we come from and all this stuff. It's just very hard to be told that, you're here because of billions of years and coincidence. It's just blind chance. And humanity is not even the pinnacle of evolution. It's just, an aberration. It's just one of many aberrations. And it's all down to chance. And we have a really, really hard time feeling that something is just chance. We don't like it. We deal very badly with statistics because we have notions in our minds that, if we hear something or see something or experience something, then that has to be kind of the truth. you know, you're not going anywhere after this life. This is it. For a lot of humans, that's not, pleasant knowledge. And I think that we have, as I was talking about before, with the superstitions and the religions, they all come from the fact that it's so easy for us and it's so pleasant for us to grab onto those ideas and fantasize about them. And there's somebody up there or something that's taking care of us, or even thinking of us. And if we do the right thing, we'll be rewarded, even if our life is not great right now. But afterwards, that means there's something. So those kinds of ideas are just much, much, much more pleasant. And you have to be, I don't know, a little bit of a flatterant to really like the fact that, oh, it's all just down to chance, and I'm here for a short time, and then that's it. You can live with it, but many people prefer not to.
But Darwin found pleasure in learning,
Right.
even against what he might want to learn. And that's the extraordinary lesson, I think, of his story, is that he developed and applied the kind of scientific method that cut away wish and all of that enthusiastic stuff.
Yeah. But he was really reticent to put his thoughts out there. I mean, he says somewhere it's going to be like confessing a murder. Putting these ideas out there. Because I think on some emotional level, he probably was also overwhelmed. I mean, and so many of his children died. He couldn't, his wife could sleep solid, and, she would see them after death, and he couldn't. And I don't think he was a very happy when he died. But I think, I think you can, as a human being, find, great satisfaction and joy in applying the scientific method, in, really observing the world and thinking about it and learning about it. And, just have your private fantasies for, and to know that they're fantasies, and you can have them for, the pleasure that they give. Because, again, we know that our brains are, organs that are, directed by pain and pleasure. And wherever you find pleasure, even if it's, weird fantasies, you can push those pleasure buttons. Sometimes you just hope that people know the difference between fantasy and pleasure.
Returning to your theme about our being a species that's here by chance, do I remember reading somewhere once that at one time, after there being a human explosion, we were reduced to a population of something like 3,000 or 30,000?
Yeah, really, really small bottleneck. It could be a few thousand. Yeah. So slim chance, and see what happens. It's interesting. Yeah. But then again, look at, it seems now that they're finding out from DNA evidence of all sorts of, other species of, old skeletons, erectors, and all sorts of other hominids, that there were once, a lot of pre-human species, and they're all wiped out. And we happen to be there after we were down to 3,000 or whatever it was. And if we did not survive that bottleneck, it might have been Neanderthals still walking around in the woods. Maybe they would pass the years.
Given the chance aspect, do we as humans have any opportunity to influence our evolution, our ability to be here in the future?
Sure.
More certainly is the way that we're speaking mathematically, but on the other side.
But I think we are shaping our evolution every day and applying medicine, and all the other things that we do, and making sure that a lot of people survive who wouldn't have survived without foreign aid or medicine, whatever. So we are shaping our evolution every day. We just
sorry, two dumb questions. First, I don't know, you understand it, everyone understands it, it's fine with, but to use the word chance, it kind of like feeds into, I've had debates with people who are like, random, and it's like, not random. Natural, natural selection, environmental pressures, it's not necessarily chance, it's not luck, but
Well,
this is how it works.
There's also no direction to it.
Right.
But the big misunderstanding is often that, evolution is sort of, there is a direction to it. It must go, towards something more and more intelligent, something better and better. Not really,
It's a bush, not a tree.
Yes. And some will argue that intelligence in itself is has been developed and probably lost in many species, because it's an expensive thing to have. It demands a big brain. Our brain takes up, I think, 20% of whatever energy intake we have. That's a very expensive brain. And you can see, crocodiles and alligators are getting by with not very much, and they're still here, and they are very, very old.
And then the last dumb thing, and I won't bother you no more. I've heard some people actually say, like, central air conditioning is why we have an obesity problem in the world. We are influencing our environment so much and controlling it so much. We would burn off energy trying to regulate our temperature, which we don't have to do anymore. And simple.
We have the same obesity epidemic in Denmark where we have no air conditioning.
But you got heat.
I think the obesity problem probably has much more to do with our lifestyles in general. And we can just like have to work physically. And we can stuff ourselves with all the food we could possibly want. And we have, because we come from, generations and generations of humans that had, lack of food. So whenever you met food, you wanted to eat it. And so you still have that appetite, you can just eat. And so you have to really, again, you have to use a flagellant is the way up.
Which goes back to we're influencing
ourselves
and the environment.
And of course, over time, we're probably also, the more we know about genetics, we will start shaping our evolution by, selecting embryos, for example, selecting against some kinds of mutations, or selecting for other changeable mutations. You have populations doing that today. I think at Emory University, there's a study being done on the Orthodox Jewish community who are trying to sort of select against some of these mutations that cause these very horrible neurodegenerative diseases like Tay-Sachs and others. So if you can weed out those mutations, you will have done, you will have created a new kind of population. It's eugenics.
Back to the interracial thing that you were talking about earlier. Is it true that interracial breeding breeds stronger immune systems?
It seems that there is such a thing called hybrid vigor for, all species, human species as well. That, the further apart you are genetically, yes, the better the combination will be for the immune system of the offspring. And you do see that a lot. And that's why you see a lot of very homogeneous populations who have certain diseases that they're fighting. Because they have been, in an environment for a long time, breeding with each other and not been outbred. So you have typical genetic programs for various ethnic groups.
Genetic variation.
I think that within a certain amount of variability, I know there was a study way back when women would snip the males, and they would prefer the odors that were based on the immune system.
HLA genes. And the further away guys HLA genes are from your own, the better you will smell.
Well, except to a certain point. So if they were too far apart, that was not attractive, but it had to be
works in mice that they will sniff each other out and not like the ones that are really close to them genetically and so on. So probably the Tyler Woods model is really good.
I'm guessing you spent some time in the States to learn English as well.
I watch too much American TV.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah. So that'll also bring down your IQ.
Yeah.
Duck Dynasty, I guess?
Duck Dynasty.
Good for you.
You're not missing anything.
Good for you.
I guess there's no more questions.
No more real questions?
Let's thank Dr.
No, thank you for.